Are we live, Kim?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I'd like to welcome everybody to this meeting of the council, March 20th, 2024, 6:30 p.m. First, I'll read the public notice about live streaming. So today's meeting is being streamed live on the Town of Annapolis Royal YouTube channel. So for those of you who are present today, by attending a public meeting of council, you're consenting to have your image, voice, and comments recorded, just so everybody's aware. Anyone who's invited to speak will be recorded and their voice, image, and comments will form part of the live stream. The chair and or the CAO have the discretion and authority at any time to direct the termination or interruption of live streaming, which has never happened. Such direction will only be given in exceptional circumstances when deemed relevant, and like I said, so far it hasn't happened. I would like to acknowledge that this meeting is taking place in Mi'kma'ki, the traditional territory of the Mi'kmaq people. So I'm calling this meeting to order. We have all members of council present and
We don't have.
no, I'm
one
sorry, we have
regret.
one regret, Paul Weir, excuse me, and I was just corresponding with him. So he's not here due to illness. And we also have members of the public attending, and Kim, do you have their name?
Yes.
You're good. Okay. We have a few additions to the agenda. So we do have some public input here. Roger's here to discuss trees, to provide some feedback on trees in town that have been removed. And there's another addition under in camera at item 14. There'll be a second labor relations and contract negotiations item. Is there anything else that I'm missing?
Be moving business ratification to an in-camera for discussion.
Does that, to in camera? Yes, okay, so move that, so that'll be item 3. And under what heading for the Municipal Government Act?
Contract negotiations.
So contract negotiations, so that is the item, sorry, Mike, it's there now. Unless there's another, that was the same item.
No.
No,
that's
okay, another.
one.
So that makes it 3 items under labor relations, and okay, good to sort that out. Any other changes? So hearing none, it's approved by unanimous consent. And we have the minutes of February 21st, 2024 at tab 1. If there are no errors or omissions.
Yeah,
yes, go
I can
ahead.
see something that might need to be changed
Okay.
under medic motion 15.
minutes?
Regarding, yes,
Okay.
regarding the town crier publication. I remember the
15.
motion was moved and seconded, but it wasn't carried. It was just referred back to medic.
Okay, so
It
15,
wasn't actually voted on and carried.
sorry, which item? It's in the minutes,
Item motion 15
motion 15. okay,
under the
sorry.
medic.
Okay, motion
heading.
15. Okay, got it.
So my understanding though, that it was that we're not taking any paid ads anymore, and I thought it was.
When I watched the meeting back, followed along with the conversation, the motion wasn't carried. It wasn't
Oh.
voted on.
Okay, so it was tabled?
Well, it wasn't tabled and somebody suggested, are we tabling it? And somebody else said, no, we're not tabling it. We're just referring it back to medic.
Okay, so it should say motion. Well,
Confirmed.
it actually should be.
It should have been tabled,
Should have
okay.
been tabled.
Yeah.
That's the text.
So it's however we want to record it.
Okay,
Okay, so motion tabled?
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
would send it back to medic to complete it. Okay, great, thank you for that. Are there any other errors or omissions? So hearing none, the minutes are approved by unanimous consent. Thank you. And we have no presentations, but we do have a member of the public with who'd like to address council on number 3. Roger, yeah, you have the floor. Yes.
Okay, so I did bring it up, but trees, you know how I feel on there, and I brought it up with the council thing. And so, you know, I drove into town, coming in 2 days ago, and I saw some massive elms, and we all know that they have the character and the impression tourists and we all get by coming into the Annapolis Royal. It's very few towns in North America have that volume of elms and that size and that age. And I know that they're being inoculated, and when I first moved into the area 6 years ago, people said they're inoculated, so it gave me kind of a sense of, you know, the calm that they're standing, they look okay. And and I got to meet Angelica, who's responsible for the trees and everything. But every few years, there's 2 or 3 or 4 elms are cut down, plus other trees, and we know that the emerald ash borer is on the way. And when that comes, that's just gonna wipe out everything with a matter of a few years. So I'm thinking subtractively in the impression into the future, it's the loss of trees is gonna seriously affect the look of the town. Now, I spent a couple hours today talking to the forestry department in Charlottetown. And I made some friends there, and they were very, very helpful, very, very friendly. And they said that they had the same problem up to about 2019, and they were losing trees. They did do inoculations with the injections, the old way, we'll call it. And then there's a newer way where they push back the soil. I don't know if anybody's seen it here. They remove soil from the root layers, and then they put tubes and tees in them, so the whole tree, the whole roots all around the tree are filled with the inoculant, and that's good for 3 years. Now, the success rate of that in 4 years that they treat them, not have been wiped out. That's in Charlottetown. The cost is about 600 for a big tree, a smaller tree would be less. And I don't know, I don't have all the facts, what's happening here, but there is I've got a good authority. I don't know if he has the exact fact, but he said the town has had a grant to remove every year a certain amount of elms. So that's what I heard, a grant. If that's not true, but I know that the trees that came down yesterday or 2 days ago, they are very expensive to bring down. I believe it's almost 10,000 a tree.
So the trees were diseased and that's why they
Yeah,
had to
yeah.
come down,
But
so.
it's like I know, see, I've been doing research as much as I can since 2 days ago. And there was one tree at 651 St. George that was treated by the method I just pointed out in Sharptown. That's still standing. That was about 4 years ago. So if it's only $600 to treat one tree of that girth, that size.
Oops, I'm sorry, my ringer is on. My apologies there. Okay,
So we have, in the past, we do give injections to the trees. So some of the trees are property owner trees, some of them trees are the town trees, so it depends on who owns the tree, who decides on whether they give them the injections or not. We cost share if the tree is half on the town property or half. It's like some trees are half the towns and half the homeowners, so then we would cost share on the injections if the homeowner is willing to do it. And then if we test the trees every year. So our contractor goes around and tests the trees, and if they come back and say that they are diseased, then we do remove those trees every year. We do
Yeah.
not get a grant to remove the trees. We do not get a grant for the injections. It's all on.
Okay,
the
that's
taxes.
reassuring, but the cost does seem negligible to treat a tree the most aggressive way, which is about 99% success rate. You can't really say 100% for legal reasons, but if it's only 600 for a big tree, and then if you're gonna be cutting down a tree, it's almost up to 10,000 to cut down a tree, and it is more cost effective to do preemptive, regardless of if it's not effective to treat it, you have that tree treated if it's good for 3 years. And then in the meantime, it would be nice to overplant the town with mid-Atlantic and mid-Western trees because they're more hardy to the warmer climate. We are warming here. And I think that would be nice to plant those trees and have those coming up near the ones that are standing, so that when things go wrong, those ones that are standing are cut. We have, something taking its place. Because I just think of, I'm from Ontario, and I saw the emerald ash borer with us, and there's about 1,000 ash trees in this town. And the ash borer is in Halifax and is moving around. So I'm just very concerned about how people feel when they come into town, the impression, and it's the lasting memories people have is because of the trees in many ways. I'd say probably that's the biggest reason that this town stands out, because of that canopy over the street. I saw a YouTube video of maybe about 15 years ago, and it's a big difference in summer. I mean, there's a canopy going through, it's dark green, the town, and it's losing that, and it's losing it fast.
So you're asking us to consider the 2019 treatment or the thing that was developed in PEI?
Yeah. and-
Contact them, is there a better way to go about the
I have some names. and-
inoculation?
Yeah,
Okay,
and there's the forest technician, well, the supervisor who looks over the urban canopy is Simon Wilmot.
How much does it cost to inoculate a tree the way we do it down
I think it's more than 600.
Yeah.
there?
It's quite expensive.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that if I know in advance, I can
Yeah.
do my legwork and have answers for you, but
Yeah.
on the fly, I,
Yeah.
don't
And
know.
the forest technician, which I really spoke to him at length about all the costs and that, like he gave me like a $4.25 per centimeter of girth, the diameter of the tree, but his name, it'd be good to put it down too, is Morgan Larrabee.
Well, what we can tell you is already
Larvey.
ARVUEY.
Larvey.
And we
Okay,
can pass that information on to our contact.
and that's what we'll do. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's, I can't understate or overstate, sorry, the importance and the look to this town. And I don't know why I'm this way personally, but I
It's
just
okay to
have.
like trees.
A
Yeah.
lot of
Yeah.
people like trees.
Yeah.
I love our trees.
But it would be nice that you guys would sort of look into that, the cost and the cost of cutting it, because I know cutting down a tree is very expensive. You saw how many days they were working on those. What some people told me, a couple of days or more than that. That's very expensive.
Mhm.
And I think it'd be just, I don't know, it's not like a broken record, but just treat all the ones on the street on St. George and then maybe encourage even homeowners to some way to reach out to them to knock it, because if they have to cut down their property, shell out 10,000 versus say 600 good for 3 years. And they confirmed it to me today, because I wanted that it's not like 30% success. They haven't cut anything down in that 4 years, that everything they treated with this method. And we do have one in town. I talked to somebody and they said it was done in that method. You want to see a picture?
No, I think,
Okay, well, that one that was done by that method, it's still standing. It's very, this last one was very thick,
okay.
verdure, green.
So thanks for that. We'll make sure it's dealt with. We'll get it to the right people and we'll certainly get back to
Yeah.
you. Thanks, John.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Just maybe some people know, I'll just.
Yeah, you can stay as long as you want.
Yeah.
You can stay for the meeting.
It's a public meeting. You're absolutely welcome. All right. So we're going to move on to new business. The
We have
electronic-
another presentation.
Yes. I apologize. You did say Roger, Roger?
Thanks.
Is it Roger? Yes, go ahead.
I'm pretty excited because I'm coming off the, which everyone has reported as the energy of last night's
The round table.
Medic roundtable.
That's great.
And one of the items that came up that sparked my interest was a discussion about electric car charging stations. So I had a dream, and as a result, I now have to ask the question about the property that is currently, the town property that's currently for sale on Route 1. What's the
Prince Albert Road?
Prince Albert Road, thank you. And now that it's in the hands of a commercial real estate arrangement, I wondered, is it too late for the town to consider developing it on behalf, but for itself? And you know where I'm going. It's already flat. There's already three-phase power in front of it. In my dream, there were tourist coaches that went down Victoria Street and turned left at the rail station and used it as a parking and recharging station. It seems to be virtually adjacent to the little walking path that allows one to go downtown. So I wonder if that could come up as a discussion for
And it did. That was one of the options, yes. So, and council decided to scrap its old real estate policy. And now we just go with the market. So that's the change we made. And yes, in good faith, it's with the realtor right now. So we need to go through the time and see what happens. And, you know, so council has an opportunity to evaluate. If nothing happens with the property, it'll come back to council to make a decision. So that idea is still out there, I guess, yeah.
So
But for right now, the council made the decision to go with
to
the,
sell
yes. And I forget what the period is,
6 months.
6 months.
6 months.
So yes, we are contractually in that, you know, that was a decision in council.
Right, and is there anything, sorry, go ahead.
We also had discussed, putting EV chargers at the skateboard parking lot there.
Mhm.
There's the space there as well, so that was, talked about a number of times of putting charging stations there
Okay.
instead of that lot, which is really adjacent or side by side, so.
I'm sure it's not just one thing, but are there some things that are barriers to using those particular spaces?
Cost, the
For
cost of installing the charging stations themselves,
against the revenue that they might provide?
no revenue.
It's just the cost outlay to install the EV charging stations.
Depending on the system that you use, the revenue would go to the companies and not the town.
They're not
The-
like parking meters then?
No, and the ones that we got with the grant at the entrance to the fort,
Right.
the town pays the power for those, so it's free for customers to charge up all day, but the town pays the power bill, which is, I think, $1,100 each in our last year's budget.
It's supplemented by the two companies that sponsor the
Now.
charging stations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was always a cost to the taxpayer to have them, but now we have the sponsorship policy that we.
It's possible for the town to achieve revenues from them, is that?
Yeah, so when we got the grant, we signed up saying that we would not charge for those spaces because we got the charging systems for free.
And that, sorry, but I'm asking about new places.
Yeah. So-
A post at the market parking lot or at a, in front of a business or.
Yeah, no, that's, depends on which company and what the deal is when you sign up and the cost and how it all works. They're all different and not much income to the town.
To them, no. to the
It's
business.
definitely something worth looking into though, to get more charging stations in town.
Oh.
And we was told
Oh.
in Medic last night.
Well, we
Yeah.
have grants out there that we're waiting for responses
Yeah.
to, so.
So I don't mean to take up too much more of your time, but one question will help me advance the thinking, I guess, and dreaming. Would there be any reason that a parking business couldn't purchase that plot, for example?
We'd have hoped somebody would have come earlier, that was the hope.
And provide for a fee.
That was an
Charging
option,
stations.
that would have been an option, it would have been an option had it gone to such an entrepreneur. And there was discussion about that would be an
And that could
okay
still
use.
occur if someone
Yeah.
got that.
Yeah, in theory, yeah,
Business plot.
somebody came in with a plan,
Mhm.
but apparently you could, yes, you could have done parking on that site, that was an okay use.
Yes, that's true. We did.
Alright, so in that sense, if it's already an approved stuff, then town essentially couldn't say no. Is that correct?
It wouldn't be up to the town to say no at that point, if it's a
Gotcha.
permissible
Permitted
use.
use in the land
Yeah.
use bylaw,
So
so it's
it-
commercial general.
It could still be it
Yeah.
could still occur in that,
Yeah, it
just a
could.
different format. Alright,
And the listing doesn't have to run the 6 months. You can withdraw a listing at any time as well.
thanks for those.
Good idea.
Thanks for those clarifications.
You're welcome.
I know it's not a new idea, so,
We're working on it, trust me.
appreciate
it. Oh, yeah.
We'd like to have them for
We
sure.
would like
More
to,
charging
yeah,
stations.
thank you.
yeah.
Puts it on the map.
Thank you for that. We've moved, the first item of new business has gone to in-camera for discussion. That brings us to item 2, the condition of the causeway. So we have received a response from the province that they're going to carry out an assessment, and it's in John, I believe you were part of the discussions on the causeway project. So we did receive a letter today from the minister indicating that it was being investigated. And that there would be an update in the month of May. I think every member of council received that letter. Anything to add?
I've got it
Jason?
Got it in here.
Nothing to add.
Okay, so that was a positive response, so we really appreciate that.
So the draft letter that's tab 3 no longer needs to
We don't have to send,
send it,
No,
needs to go because
Right.
we received the letter today.
so we'll let them know tomorrow evening since the same people will be at that meeting. Okay, great, good.
That's
We
good.
can tell them in person the good news. It's good to see that there'll be a report. Okay, then we have,
I have one quick question on that.
Yeah.
Did we get any clarification on the control of the gates on the causeway? Is that part of,
this was the
DPW?
assessment report that we had requested. We didn't mention, we didn't get into sluice gates. It was a condition of the causeway itself as part of the seawall plan and as part of,
But it also talks about
Response.
sea level rise.
yes.
So they were looking into sea level rise and the construction or the viability of that roadway. But from the letter that we got today, it was pre and post when Nova Scotia Power leaves and pre, so.
okay,
Couldn't print my copy because by that time I couldn't refuse to function anymore. And then we have a request for Cat for Keeps Rescue Society request. So the question is, did you want to send that to budget or?
well, that's what I was thinking too, our medic, you know, how we have the pickle and the, what's the other one?
Jeannie, so we have the quality of life budget.
Okay,
We have money left in that. We have enough money to pay out of this current fiscal year if
okay.
council wishes to do so, or a smaller amount, like they're asking for 3, but if you would rather, you know,
Would
give
be nice to
something, or you
help.
can just put it to.
It would.
It would be nice to help in some capacity. That's the same organization that tomorrow night I'm hosting a paint night and monies go to the Cats for Keeps Rescue Society. We'll be painting and drinking wine.
Lovely combination.
So what's the thoughts on the contribution?
For this, out of this year's budget.
Yeah,
I'd like to refer this to budget discussions on Sunday afternoon.
So we're discussing the 2023-24 budget.
Right.
So this is the possibility of coming out of this year's budget.
we have the money this year.
Oh, I see, I
Yeah,
see.
sorry.
Do we have-
To make clear.
cat problem in town?
Well, some of their clients have been local cats. Some of the current cases involve
Council River, Common to Dutch Cove, and Lawrencetown, right? That's the
the
board.
pictures, some of them are Annapolis rural cats.
I didn't see pictures. Oh, sorry.
So there are many, many pictures. The other thing is they
Aw.
provided information on proliferation of cats. So they gave us the stats on, you know, what happens with one unspayed animal.
Mm-hmm,
So it's a pretty complete.
yeah, that's.
If you want, so you have the option, like you said, it can go to the budget talk.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, two options, so for this year's budget or
Mhm.
considered for next year.
Yeah. I'd
So
like
it
to do
just
that.
depends on what you wish to do.
But it's for, we have the money now. For this year, right? Cause what we're discussing on Sunday is the next budget.
Yes, so we have money that was not used in the quality of life grant, which is, would be the quality of life of, you know, cats, I'm assuming, that you could use that money that hasn't.
But if they were gonna go through that, they would have to apply for the program. We're not just gonna approve it based on pictures of kittens. Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay, 2 of us may not do that, but.
So we could send them the application you're saying for this year.
Yeah, well,
Ask them-
limited.
Is there an
$2,000.
Yes, there is an application process and it's undersubscribed.
So pickle is only $500, a like a request.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, just kidding. And then Genie is for the events, which it would not qualify. Right? It's unless they had a special event that they hosted
Oh,
in the town, and then they could apply for the grant, but.
so
there- it
I
needs to
was
be
thinking the
20th
quality
the
of
month.
life one. I was thinking that isn't Pickle or Genie. That's a
Yes,
separate
that's
one?
pickle.
No,
That's Pickle?
Yeah.
Quality life is Pickle.
If we
it's got a
have,
Q in it, that's the.
if we have funds left over in pickle from this fiscal year, we can carry it over into next year.
No.
We don't carry any funds over any year for
But they,
any,
they would have to go and apply through it, so I mean, if they apply and they meet that, then I think that's what it's there for. So I would suggest they apply. That's what it's there for.
So
We
they'll
have
do
money
an
in it.
application.
And how much can
for
they apply for?
500 is the maximum.
They were asking 3.
If other organizations ask for 3, would we
We
give
did,
3?
No,
Or
they-
is it 500 per application?
the maximum is 500
Right.
under the
Okay.
quality of life one, yeah.
Okay, so is it fair that we would ask them to make an application? Like we would ask other organizations to do that too,
Yeah, it's a pretty straightforward one.
right?
Okay.
All right, so
Yeah.
send that through.
That's.
Yeah. And make it, oh, sorry. Can they apply next year as well for the same one? Okay,
Yeah,
so
they
you know,
can
when
apply and-
we look at each one, or staff looks at each one as they come in, but they could possibly get that $500, maybe next year too. And then we're up to 1,000, just like
But
that.
I'm not sure that's kind of what they're looking for, they're looking for the town to
Thanks.
support,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So it's not, they're not asking for them to fill out applications for funding, they're asking the town on behalf of the town to give to support this society.
There's no details on what other organization, what other municipal units are.
Yes,
contributing.
the county's been approached and are coming on board with that.
Well, they probably haven't-
We have a
it's
meeting
taken
tomorrow night
on
with the
much.
county, we can certainly discuss it there.
Yeah.
So,
Or if you want, you can come and make a presentation.
I'm fine with them applying, but it's fine.
I just lost my wallet, somebody dropped it off there apparently.
Oh.
we happen to have, just in time.
We saved it for the next day.
Okay, so, shall we get more information then to put it on the, just discuss it briefly with the county and Middleton?
Well, what I was thinking, this is an amazing organization, but there's several
Yes.
amazing organizations that, you know, look after cats and try to get things under control. And I think if we do point one organization into the direction of Pickle with a Q, then we should just make sure that we do that for everyone, so that everyone's on the same playing
Well,
field.
they've succeeded CAPS, so CAPS is no more.
I know, but I think there's still more. I have, well, maybe they're not right in our town, but on my news feed, there's cats everywhere. And they all need help.
Sounds good.
So just so that I'm clear, I'm just going to send them back an email and say, there's still current funding left in this fiscal year. If you would like to apply for a grant, here's the application. And the deadline is March 31st.
Yeah.
Okay, that sounds good. Okay, thank you. We don't need a motion, so. On to unfinished business, so the coastal protection letter, so a letter is being drafted to go to the Honorable Timothy Hallman. And everyone's seen it?
It's fun.
I have reached out to the CAO of the county.
Yeah.
To ask them, because it came from Medic, or
Mhm.
not Medic,
Yeah.
Environment.
Mhm.
And so I have done that. The warden has agreed that they are willing to sign this letter. And so this was just to make sure the town was good to go.
It's a good letter, thanks.
Yeah, it's basically to avoid a patchwork of potentially conflicting design solutions around the waterways in the province, especially in the Annapolis Basin.
Right,
Yeah, so, yeah, it's just saying, what about this, little patch?
Mhm.
Not so little patch.
Right.
Okay, so if you're okay with the letter, it goes.
yes.
Thank you.
I think that
So-
there's a motion.
Yes, we do have a motion. It's
Okay.
being drafted.
I would move that council approve to send a letter from the town of Annapolis Royal and the municipality of the county of Annapolis Royal to the Honorable Timothy Howman regarding the town's concerns not to proceed with the coastal protection. Act.
I'll second that.
Seconder?
And just one change, it's just the county of Annapolis, not Annapolis.
Yeah, I kind of thought that was,
Right.
yeah, I'm happy with that.
And is there, is there further discussion? Are we okay? You ready for the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carried. Okay, thank you. Now we move on to recommendations from committee of the whole.
Mhm.
So who wants to start?
Motion one, that council pre-approve the purchase of a 2021 Dodge Charger police vehicle in the amount of $68,343.35 plus HST from the 24-25 general capital budget.
I'll second that.
Further discussion? Ready for the question?
Yeah, I
Yes.
think I'm good. We
Okay.
discussed it
Yeah,
at
we
length
did,
in the
we
last
did.
meeting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Who's next?
Me, I just missed my spot. New system, hang on.
Okay.
I can read it if you want.
No, I got it.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, I move that council approve the Annapolis Hub Comfort Centre Policy 202404 dated March the 20th, 2024.
A second.
Further discussion? That's another one that we discussed at
Yeah.
length. Yes, go ahead, Sandy.
I just was wondering if it was brought up at the condo board meeting yesterday, if they would volunteer.
Oh, no, it wasn't brought up.
Okay.
It was going to be, but the meeting went 2.5 hours because we were looking at the draft budget. So by that time, everybody was a little bit,
So maybe next. month.
next month.
Do we need to table this or are we paid
No,
to go
it's
with
fine,
it?
well,
Okay.
as long as, so the policy states that
It
there needs
depends
to be a
on
volunteer
Yeah,
list, so.
yeah. So,
Even, but if the condo board doesn't volunteer, there still can be a
Right.
volunteer list, it doesn't.
Yes,
I'm just hoping that, because they're right there, that some members will wanna sit on the.
I think
volunteer.
so. When I discussed
then-
it at the previous meeting, because we were talking about the propane tanks and the generator and everything else, there was a real feeling of excitement
Yeah, so I
and
think they will.
they're welcoming that space. So I'm not seeing it's gonna be a problem.
and they can show up in the pajamas. We're okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
So ready for the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carried. Next.
I move that council pre-approve and award the contract to IntelliVote Systems in electronic format for the 2024 municipal election.
I'll second.
Coming up.
All right. Further discussion? Are we okay with it?
No, it makes sense.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carried. Okay.
Marketing and development, motion one, that council agree to send the letter to Minister McMaster requesting consideration of incentives for business to stay open. In addition to the current tax reduction for certain qualifying businesses that close for 4 months of the year.
I second that.
Okay, any further discussion?
And the letter, the draft letter is there, so.
Yeah, we've already, I think it's.
At the round table last night, was that because I came half an hour late? Was that discussed?
That really wasn't discussed. We discussed a lot of stuff, but that one there didn't get discussed, which would have been,
Mm,
yeah, it would have been interesting
It was more
because.
just the kind of share the opening and closing of existing businesses during the week.
Yeah,
It's discussed a lot.
that was discussed, yeah, but this here, I think it's important.
This
that
is a
we-
provincial
that we-
regulation, so it
Yeah.
needs to be
But-
pushed through that.
Right.
It's
And the
it's
minis-
working the wrong way.
Yeah,
Yes,
and
it
the
is.
minister needs to realize that there are small businesses trying very hard to stay open with very few people around because everyone, not everyone, but several people really don't come into town because they don't think anything's open. And I don't think it's a good feeling.
no,
Okay, so
I really hope it, hope,
it'll
think
spark
back
some
to it.
discussion,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, well, that's all you can
Ready for
do.
the question?
Yep.
All in favor?
I,
Aye.
Motion carried. Okay.
what have we got? I move the council approve the Marketing and Economic Development Committee Medic Marketing Plan 2024 as presented.
Second,
Okay, so
So
further
that
discussion.
was sent around after.
Yeah.
It wasn't received in time.
So how can we do that
I gotta get.
when we have to approve their. I mean, the plan's great, but a lot of it is based on the budget as well.
Well, we could just split the budget off,
Yeah,
right? No,
But I mean, the plan should follow what we approve for the budget.
well, except their budget will balance if they go and find enough grants to pay for it.
Yeah.
Well, that's
I
it,
think
yeah.
these are the priorities that the committee is looking at doing.
Right.
And if we find a grant for, just for example, wayfinding grant, then they can work on that priority this year. Right? And it doesn't mean that all these objectives will get done this year, but this is what they're gonna focus on. And if they, if we pass the budget later, which will go to budget discussions,
Yeah,
if then they have X amount of dollars in their budget, then that's what they use, but this is their overall plan that will guide this committee on how they're gonna move
I
forward.
think it's draft number 4, and it's the
I-
shortest of
It, it's been pared down several times
Yeah.
and even the budget was pared down a wee bit and I think it's, if grants come along, it'll be worth
Well, last
Trying to
year,
grab 'em.
85,000 showed up that
right?
nobody knew about until they showed up.
So you never know.
No,
I think it was a good,
so if we sever them, you could approve just the plan, for example.
Yeah.
Right, so where in the motion is it that this budget is gonna be, this proposed budget will be approved based on grant funding?
Oh, no, that's like
I know.
anything we do.
But I have
Yeah,
a bit of a problem with $12,000 for wayfinding.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. So
Right.
all you want to approve maybe is just the plan itself,
Mhm.
but not the budget. Just make
Right.
it clear in the motion.
it doesn't even say budget. It
No.
literally says
No, but you
marketing
make it,
plan.
make sure. 'cause
yes,
it's
my
attached to the
question
last
was though, how
page.
can you?
Yeah.
It is based on a budget, the plan is based
Of
on the budget,
course.
but if you don't approve the budget, or the budget doesn't get approved, then the plan ideas don't,
I see.
aren't the plan. So that's what my question is, but I guess, as Sandy said, this is just what they're
Focus.
focused on.
And
And our
when it,
strat plan includes lots of stuff. Nobody to pay for it.
yeah, and when it comes to budget time.
Yeah.
Like on Sunday when we're discussing medic and what we're gonna set aside, that doesn't necessarily mean we're gonna put.
Yeah.
I don't know what the total was, 20. Yeah, I don't, that doesn't mean we're gonna put
We're
24,000.
not approving the budget.
We're
so-
not approving the budget. I think
Exactly.
that's important.
So that it should be the plan without the budget. then.
Yes, make it very clear.
So let's change the motion.
No, there's no budget in the motion,
Yeah, yeah. it
it's just
literally
the
doesn't say
marketing
that.
plan.
But they put the proposed budget
As
in the
presented.
plan. So
As
we have
presented,
to-
that
Yeah.
doesn't mean we've,
This does.
It's presented with budget in it,
Yeah,
so excluding
excluding,
the proposed budget.
Yeah.
okay,
Or you can, cause it goes to by page. And so it ends at page 8,
up to
yes,
PG.
excluding page 9.
right?
Okay,
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Excluding
Well, why can't we just put excluding page 9, proposed
Budget,
budget?
proposed budget, to make it clear, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you get all that, Kim?
Yeah.
Great. But the rest of the plan, it'll be nice that they have a plan, it's a focused plan.
It is.
You're
It's
okay
great
with
to have a
that?
plan.
You change the motion?
Yes,
I'm fine with the change of the motion, but I just had a question about First Lake that hasn't even been addressed.
no,
Right,
because it
is
was
that-
one of many, so when they pared it down,
Yeah,
but I didn't want it to fall off, that's why I asked
thought-
for it to be added. Like,
yes,
just so that
It's still.
whoever's on medic in the next few years, like, I don't want that to get dropped.
right.
I think it's way too important.
Yeah.
And I really believe that the concept that we did a lot of work on. I believe in that concept and I think it could work, again, with a lot of grant money.
But even like, for example, the Salt Skate Expo.
Hmm.
It's in April 2025. Well, that's not even in next year's budget.
Mhm,
That'll be in the next year's budget,
exactly.
right? So, but this is just talking about they wanna focus and they wanna work on going to that. So the money, there should be no money for this item in next year's budget because it would be the 25-26 budget, not the
Okay.
24-25 budget that we're working on
But
for.
wouldn't you have to pay for that ahead of time, like,
That would
what's your
just be a
spot?
pre-approval, but it wouldn't be in the budget, right?
I think council has to have the larger decision too, right?
Mhm.
On the,
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's just like this plan is just to give them some focus instead of just going.
Right. Yeah, no, it's good to have a plan.
And I know that we had to scramble, which is why maybe some things missed, right? Just to
Yeah.
get it to this meeting,
Mhm.
because we did remind Medic that they hadn't put anything, we had our versions, but we didn't have a kind of final version.
Cause it has come to council prior.
Yeah.
I think 3 months ago, the, one of the plans had come, but it was never approved.
It was a bit daunting.
Saltscapes Expo to attend this April, that came to council.
Yes, and now it's not this year,
But
if you notice that got rolled into next year, yeah. So that's the good part, is they've reacted to what council said.
Mhm, yeah.
Yeah, and slimmed it down, because it was very ambitious,
Mhm.
and it was like a little bit too much. It was great, but we couldn't do it all at once.
Mm-mm.
Who seconded the motion?
She seconded it. You ready? No?
I moved it.
Oh, I second it. Yeah, I'm fine with the,
With the
whatever
amendment.
changes. Yeah.
So you ready for the question? Addition of
I knew it was me.
page 9, proposed budget
Yes. Yeah.
change,
Aye.
all in favor?
Aye.
That's all right, we know where you are. Thank you. Motion carried. Now, the marketing budget was to follow, so that's referred to budget for
Well,
the,
Yeah.
Yeah, we should
Okay.
just, yeah.
referred to budget, okay? Then we come to planning and heritage advisory committee. The first
Okay.
is a development agreement.
Yes, I move that council gives first reading for the development agreement between the town of Annapolis Royal and King's Theatre Society for improvements at 209 St. George Street, PID numbers 05003777, 0511-634, 05004221, and 05004213, as detailed in the development agreement.
Half of the pits are underwater, that explains it. Do we have a seconder?
second.
Now, any issues with the language from anybody?
No,
No?
And so a reminder, this is just first reading, so our planner, Chris Millier, will come to the public meeting, which is your next motion, to pick the date, and go over the whole application in detail. I do want to bring your attention to section 4 of the agreement. So section 4 outlines what is substantial changes, because this is always where we get kind of caught up. So it says any change to the proposed use or any change to the location, size, and design are what is considered substantive. Substantial. So anything else is non-substantive, and they can just change that as they want.
okay.
So a big conversation that we had at PHAC when it came to the meeting was the number of lights.
Right,
Almost light pollution.
but they have scaled that back. I think
Mhm.
Janet mentioned that at the last presentation.
So that would, according to this, is going to be a non-substantive change. So I just want to make sure you're good with that before you
So
get
they,
too far into it.
Okay,
so they can do what they want, the lights.
Yeah,
They are gonna be on timers,
yes.
Janet assured me,
Oh,
and cause I
And they'll be at the meeting, so.
And I live right beside that property. It doesn't really affect me, but I was concerned about, across the street. And then she said they were gonna be on timers, so I was like, okay.
Because it's that apartment.
For me, I've got no
Just over the,
windows on that
office
side.
professional.
Yeah.
That was my first apartment when I lived here. I had some questions about the language of 9. So I noticed or is used, but are there any of these that would be and ors that could be used together? So not all of them had the word or. So for example, the prosecution under MGA didn't have the word or. So I'm just wondering, when Chris looks at this, can he look at,
Indoors, yeah.
yeah, the and ors, and if there's an or at every other, why does one not have an or? So that was one.
Yeah.
My second question was about the last paragraph of 9. Line 3 doesn't make any sense, but I'm thinking maybe it's or it was a word missing. Yeah,
The which sentence, the last,
so it's the second sentence, such expenses may exclude but are not limited to costs incurred in returning property owned by the town, that was fine, or the property. So is that, or restoring the property? I don't know.
well, see, the town actually owns all the
Yes, but
property.
it's or the property,
Mhm.
that's it. No verb, nothing. Or what,
Hmm.
what about the property? Return the
the-
property owned by the town
Yeah.
or the property.
To the original condition before the beginning of the work.
Yes, so, so it would be restoring the property to its original condition, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that was one. And then just the last one, you enter into a development agreement. That's item 10. That was it. That was it, but good. Okay, so, we have some questions for him. So this is first reading today.
Yes.
And the next is to set the date. for the-
Mhm.
So
There's a
do we need
motion for
motion
that?
for first reading?
That
No,
was
for
what
the
we just
public
did.
hearing.
For the, yeah, sorry. For the
Oh, I
public
think we
hearing.
have to clean this up all in. together.
Yeah, we didn't vote on the first one yet.
Yeah, we gotta,
We need to vote on first reading.
Exactly. That's where I am.
Yep.
You moved, you second.
Question on the motion?
Yeah, question.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carried.
So then we now need a second motion on that for the
Public
date.
hearing date,
Yeah.
April 17th, proposed
We've
at
got
5
council
p.m.
on that day.
That's what you want to do it, right?
Yeah, so it's the hour before council.
so it should be changed to 5:30, not 5.
Very
Ay,
good.
I actually caught
Good,
something.
that is brilliant.
Were you here
Yeah.
at 6?
No, it wasn't.
Okay,
So did you read that or?
I did not.
Give it a go.
So,
that was a pre-correction.
there is no one here, I'm just making it up, aren't I?
No,
No,
it's number
No,
three.
the
Motion
set
to
the public-
We don't do that.
second page of the agenda.
It's right underneath the one
Well,
I just
the
read.
council set the public hearing date of April 17th, 2024 at 5:30 PM.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Right, I will let you know I won't be here, for council or that public hearing.
Okay.
Sending my regrets.
All regrets. Okay, thank you for
In
that.
Nashville trying to.
So that means everybody else must show up,
Yeah.
Right,
You guys-
or,
or else we need to pick a new meeting
Oh, I'll
because
be here.
we don't wanna spend the money doing all the ads and that and then not have quorum.
That's why I wanted to give everyone the
it's
heads
a lot
up.
of money. How much is it to place the ad?
Couple $100
Yeah,
and then Chris is calling and yeah.
yeah,
Yep, it's a lot of money for us to.
And it's a process, so if we
better be going.
miss a step in the process, we have to start all over.
Nothing planned.
Slow them down.
Check your calendar.
Okay, on to Board of Police.
Oh, we didn't vote.
Oh, I'm sorry for the, yes, all in favor?
Yes,
Aye.
How did it?
Aye. Should carry again.
Cause then
Okay,
after.
that's what we're all here for, to keep each other straight. Board of Police.
I move the council approve the Board of Police budget 2024-2025 for law enforcement of $11,393.50 and the police protection of $505,806 as presented.
Well, second.
So discussion.
So of course, the Board of Police always recommends to council the budget.
Yeah.
So at the last meeting, they reviewed it
Yes, we
and
did.
then it's, you know,
Mhm.
now on the next stages for our budget talks.
Yeah,
Which are scheduled for Sunday, with all as well. So, we will reach the budget.
So you
Oh,
can
well, we
table it
just-
and-
oh, we don't
Oh,
even
we don't
vote
have
on
to
it?
vote on it?
No, because this is what they're recommending, but we still have the opportunity to look at it at.
The motion came from them, but our budget meeting is Sunday.
Oh, right.
Okay,
So we would simply refer it to, if you're okay with that, we
Yeah.
refer it to budget.
Why did we make the motion? I didn't understand.
No, because it was there, because it came from them.
Okay.
It's a recommendation from us.
Yeah.
From the board,
Okay.
right? That's the process. The
Okay.
board has to recommend the
Okay.
budget to council.
Right.
Council can accept it or change it.
Okay.
That's council's priority,
Mhm.
but the board is okay with this, so this budget as is.
Yeah. So I just, yeah, because it's only, it's not only, but it's 13% of our tax base. Right,
Mhm.
the police budget.
Yeah.
Okay. That's good.
Okay, so I believe that brings us to reports. So you have my report, and I do have an update, but it's, I'll have to do it in camera.
okay.
So I will do that when we get there. So that's it. Over to the Chief Administrative Officer's report.
So my CAO report was in there. I also had, in my notes that I have met with Sybil, Paula
Yes, the
sent me
Healthcare
the
Advisory
information.
Committee proposal.
And so I met with her last week and I am going to speak to the county tomorrow night to see if they're interested in working together on a community task team, for the healthcare initiative file. And today I received a call from Carmen Kerr and Brian Reed, who is the chair of the village of Lawrencetown.
Right.
And they are looking to meet with us on a joint initiative as well, collaborating somehow. I think they have a part-time doctor now
Mhm.
that is in Lawrencetown, and they are looking to work with us and see what else we can do if we can work with them, and they'll promote Annapolis Royal and we can promote what's in Lawrencetown. So just a little update
Okay,
on that one.
great.
Did you have any other questions?
No, I was just curious where we're at with the process of
Okay.
trying to establish a group to address these concerns, so that sounds like we're on the right track.
And Sybil did say when I met with her last week that there wasn't many people still on the task team.
No, it's whittled
And that-
down to 3 people now.
Yeah, so if anybody's interested in joining the task team, then, that's an option. That
Okay.
We'll put that in the newsletter or something as well. We'll see kind of where all this kind of goes and
Yeah, we put together a poster I did a poster about a year ago. We can maybe just do the same one. It was a really good poster. And just put that on the Facebook page maybe and
Yep.
Town Crier. Okay.
And
yes.
And Sandy and I summarized the file, the healthcare file from 2021 to now, every meeting, all that's done. And we came up with a list of over 20 organizations that are in the system, because the county's question back is, aren't there enough organizations? We said that's what the problem is.
Right.
Mhm.
We're up to past 20.
Wow.
So they wanted to see the list. So along with the terms of reference for testing, we're going to send them this list.
Yes.
I just hadn't had a chance to meet with Sandy and correct it for any errors that are in there. So
Yeah.
that'll get done. So we can tell them exactly, yeah, the problem is we're dealing with 20 points of entry.
Right. It gets confusing.
And there are navigators all over the place. As soon as you see the word navigator, you know, got a system in serious trouble.
Yeah.
And then the navigator that was working Brienne
Right.
with
Mhm.
ABCC has now moved into a different job. So that position has been vacant for quite a while.
Ah, okay.
So we've had no support
Mm.
down at this end, through that.
Interesting, I didn't know that.
And so that's kind of where Brian, and when we get together, we're gonna try and see if we can get some of that money to focus on our area, because we don't wanna lose it.
Right.
Yeah, so there's been some little bit of work done on the back side of that.
Great.
And you've got a recommendation for budget in a report, highly recommended replacing this roof this year. I highlighted that because that's another thing for budget. We'll deal with it there.
The roof, the entire roof again?
Yep,
Yeah, so the main roof is leaking. It fell, the police department, in the new police department. I'm not sure how many tiles fell down, but quite a few tiles fell in all the work that we did in the police department, and it's not coming from the flat roofs. It's coming from the main roof now.
Because we've had worked on the roof just a few years ago.
Those are the flat
Yeah.
roofs.
They're the flat roofs.
Yeah, so the first time so in the old council chambers upstairs, I was getting a leak through there, down through the wall and leak. And they went up and patched, some shingles were missing from the roof, so they patched it. And then again, it leaked, I think twice since then, and then they went up and said, you really need to remove the gables and redo the roof. So we have quotes for both metal and shingles that we'll present at our budget meeting.
but a plan for how to pay for it with solar panels down the road, right?
There you go.
So, yeah. Anyway. Okay, next, were there any other questions about Sandy's report?
No.
You have the planning services report, nothing unusual there.
No.
And you have the water reports,
Yeah.
All good?
okay. And, okay, so that brings us to the merit report.
I think I
You
said
sent
that,
that, yeah.
or it was a little late.
It came before the meeting.
They did, yeah.
Anything to add to that?
No,
Successful roundtable last night.
successful, yeah, and I do think it is something that we'll try to do quarterly.
Okay.
We'll try quarterly.
That's what I said try.
But based on the reaction of everybody when you asked last night, I think everybody was like, yes, we need this.
Mhm.
It was a positive.
report, yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah, it was a really great first meeting.
It was.
And
And thanks
Our
to the
chair
vice
did good.
chair, she
Yeah,
sent
and-
notes.
Ann Crossman did a great job doing some minutes. Yeah, that was good.
Okay, Board of Police, we also received that report. Anything to add
Yes,
there?
no,
Thank you. Planning and Heritage, Councillor Sanford.
we didn't meet.
Great, okay, so
Did we?
no report.
No, well, I was just like going back, I'm like, no, because when I seen that come up with King's Theater, but yeah, we didn't meet.
Right. Okay,
It was a fast meeting.
so the twinning report, where to start? We've got 2 students heading here from France. They'll arrive May, June, the 2 months. They're booked. We're doing the paperwork now. Everything's in place except for supervisor.
Yeah,
We need a supervisor for the 2 students.
so you've got a place for them to stay,
We've got them billets,
but where are they gonna, like, set up shop?
here. Yeah,
At the town hall?
yeah.
Okay.
They need to bring their laptops.
Mhm.
So you have correspondent on that. The school has blessed the program that they're going to do.
Mhm.
Um,
The school in Royal.
the Collège de Collois, we have to talk to Millie Hawes about costumes for them if they go in Acadian dress. And the committee basically would be supporting the work of Medic on the Francophone and Voyant file.
Yeah.
And then Crossman is doing a survey of businesses to see who would be interested in potential direct trade. And I think you said there's somebody from the county, so once you have a list, Medic should produce the list, I'm thinking.
Mhm.
And so they can
There
do
was one
some
last
pre,
night too. That was a comment made at the meeting,
good.
that there was somebody that was going to France to go international with their product.
So if we could get a list of businesses out of Medic or people to approach, they will approach any business you wish. And Crossman is working on the survey, the survey of businesses. And they could go to some in costume, but he's also planning to put them on the street. And today we found out that AHS are completing the work on the 1710 de la Batte map of Port Royal. So we will have in French and English, the locations of every Acadian home in the town as a
That's really great.
1710.
So when you say supervisor,
For the students.
yeah, like, what would the supervisor, like, just oversee what they're doing or come up
Quality
with?
quality
Okay.
control. So the supervision to make sure they're doing what they should do.
So is this a
the right quality.
volunteer supervisor?
Yes.
Okay.
So you'll have full bilingual support, and
Mhm.
Crossman is handling all the files because she can read French, even though she doesn't speak it. So
Hmm.
she's providing good support, but we do need a supervisor because there needs to be quality control.
So a bilingual
It
supervisor.
doesn't have to be bilingual because they have to learn English.
Okay,
Yeah.
fair enough.
So
Just
we do need a
do we
supervisor.
have our interpretive costumed volunteers this year? Because could they maybe work with the students? Is that something?
money in.
We don't have the money in the budget to do that. Oh, that's a shame.
It was there the last 2 years, but
Because it was
these
really
two students
successful.
can go out and,
Right.
yeah, so for any French tourists, there'll be enough this year.
Yeah.
And for the others, they'll practice their English. Yeah, so that's a twinning report. We're looking for a supervisor. Okay, and after that, library report, and he's not here, Councillor Greer, and I don't think I saw a report from him.
No,
Traffic advisory,
there was
I-
no meeting this month, so there would be no report.
That's right.
TPAC, so
and for the IMSA interim board, the meeting is
next
next
Wednesday.
Wednesday, so I have nothing to report. Environment Committee,
And we met on March the 8th and we discussed with disappointment the abandonment of by the provincial government of the Coastal Protection Act and the downloading of responsibility to municipalities. This new plan, as we discussed, will be a patchwork approach, but the good news is the town of Annapolis Royal has already been protecting our coastline by default as we keep on top of our developments and projects through the town's waterfront development plan. Plus, and correct me if I'm wrong, in the works, there is the comprehensive climate change plan between Annapolis Royal, the county, and Middleton.
you're right.
Bingo. Great. There's a group of concerned citizens who are asking the government to extend immediate interim protection to the proposed Goldsmith Lake Wilderness Area, which is forest, wetland and lakes, to protect species of lichen at risk and old growth forests at risk. And the Gulf of Maine Awards nominations are due at the end of the month, and it's open to individuals or organizations. So that was it for environment.
What was the Goldsmith Lake one again?
Yeah, so the Goldsmith Lake is about half an hour outside of Bridgetown.
Yeah.
And they've identified lichen, very, very rare lichen, and they,
presented it here.
Yes, it did.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
right.
like a year ago.
Okay.
So because there's the lichen, then it can save the forest. So it can, because they found this special lichen, it also saves the
Yeah.
trees. So, but it's like a patchwork. If they didn't find the lichen, then the trees could be cut down. But because there's these sightings now of the lichens in all around that area,
right,
then the trees are saved within so many feet of that finding,
yeah,
Cause that area was.
open for.
Clear cutting, other than the old growth section, the
Right.
little section that they,
Mhm. So now
Okay. that's great news.
That is
yeah,
good.
Found
it is great news.
a little.
Yeah.
Glitch in.
I know,
It's
it's
on
very,
the mission of the armor.
right.
And they
And
sent
some like
pictures of their campsite, so we recognize some of the people.
No,
Oh,
yeah,
yes,
locals,
absolutely, yeah, yeah.
Good one, yeah.
That's a great report.
All right, so condo, it's me next. We met yesterday and window assessments have been completed and repairs are being planned, mainly hardware. The Academy property manager now has a designated cell phone specifically for condo related business. So it's easy to get a hold of, so it's a lot more efficient. Various minor repairs to some of the condos are ongoing. The floodlight bulb on the school street side of the building will be replaced soon. They need a tall ladder or a cherry picker because it's so high, hence the delay. The emergency light close to the gym stairwell needs replacing and is being addressed. And the draft operating budget was reviewed and discussed in great detail.
So are the Pierre Goudin windows being looked at in the window report? That's
Yes, it
been
is.
on the list for,
So they've had somebody come out, look at the masonry, and it needs repointing on that location. And that's why water's getting in. So
so they are. going
that's
to
been
finally-
identified.
Yeah. And it's on the list.
It's on the list. I'm keeping it on the list, definitely. All right, so.
Friends of the Pool is next.
Friends of the Pool.
Go on. Yeah.
So the AGM was last month and it was well attended and the regular monthly meeting is being held this evening. And the Save the Pool campaign is underway. Multiple fundraising initiatives are being planned. So mark your calendars. The next fundraising event is the Pancake Breakfast, which is going to be held on Easter Saturday, March 30th, starting at 8 a.m. at the Granville Ferry Community Hall. It's a fundraiser for Save the Pool. It's $12 per adult, $8 per child, 10 and under. And there's also going to be a silent auction and grand in the hand fundraiser. So spread the word, tell your friends. And huge thanks to Miller's Independent and Warren's Family Maple Syrup for their huge donation. So multiple applications for funding have already been submitted and are ongoing and waiting for responses. And as you already know, the County of Annapolis has pledged a very generous $60,000 donation towards the redevelopment and repair of the Annapolis Community Pool. And Warden Alex Morrison said, quote, I've got to read this because it's great. There is no greater gift than a community can give to its community members, young and old, than the gift of survival and learning to swim when we are surrounded by so much water. Your society's ongoing leadership in the administration and operation of this facility, which benefits so many residents, is commendable, and we sincerely applaud your volunteer efforts. So,
You're here.
yeah, good news from the pool.
Yeah. All right. And there's been no meeting of accessibility committee. I'm getting a bit worried.
Well, that one was supposed to happen in March.
Yeah.
So I sent an email to Ken to find out why it was missed or
Okay.
if, so maybe they'll meet in April.
The chair.
It was Brenda, but I think Brenda stepped down, but I'm
Yes.
not sure.
Yeah.
He's in Canmore most of the time.
Yeah.
So I think Brent. Anyway, that's what I mean. Quarterly meetings, you really have to. We'll find out what's happening there. Okay, next we move on to correspondence. Lovely correspondence today. So you've got a letter from the Walsh family thanking for consideration for the children. And we also had this lovely letter from the Witherleys about the tree takedown and the arborist's work and Angelica's work. So that was nice to receive, because those were kind of